Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us once again for our exhibition night tonight. I think we have 41 images submitted. So thank you. These are always a lot of fun. Again, as your images come up, if you've entered some, you'll see them come up on the screen as that pops up. Feel free to share any information about the image, what you're thinking of, maybe why you were taking it, did you accomplish what you were trying to accomplish, and if you have anything you want to share as far as how you processed it or anything else, and feel free to do that. And then also the other attendees that are here, feel free to chime in and add any compliments to the image, and also provide any thoughts and suggestions if there's anything you see on there that you would maybe again like to make suggestions to the maker. Also, I real quickly before we get into other upcoming events, I wanted to really thank those for Elaine and those who attended her single light source workshop a couple Saturdays ago, and
Something like that.
But
20th. Whatever that was.
April 20th, so it was fairly recent. But we all had a really good time. A lot of us learned how to use light and off-camera flash, and we really had a lot of fun. Elaine brought in a lot of props, a lot of things to work with, and so we had a real good time. And I think the feedback on it was real positive. Everybody now aims to go out and try and create some of those types of images themselves. And who knows, I'm sure we will probably see a couple of those pop up here tonight. Now I do want to go into a couple of the upcoming events that we've got. The next presentation night is 2 weeks from tonight, so the third Wednesday, May 15th, and that's on wildlife photography with our Lone Tree member, Bruno Zaragoza. And the next one after that is June 5th. We have our next competition, and this one is open, so no themes. So again, just anything as long as it's appropriate, obviously, in that. Feel free to enter those, but that will be June 5th. And entries on those, so that's on Wednesday. The entries are typically due that Sunday night before that. So whatever that is, June 2nd or 3rd, something like that. More information to follow, and we'll have that on the next email. A couple of other things that are also coming up in that I was going to mention. One thing is we were invited, Scott Wilson, who has judged for us before and has a gallery up at in the Denver Art District on Santa Fe area. He has it's Gallery 6 is what it is, and I've been up there and met with him a couple times up there. He has a upcoming, let's say, open house event with Cliff Lawson. Cliff Lawson has done some presentations for us. He's also judged for us in that in the past. But he has his military veteran portrait series that will be on display there at the gallery. And so it's the evening of Friday, I believe it's May 17th, yeah, May 17th, the Friday evening. And there's a limited number of people that can attend just because of the space that's there. But he wanted me to make sure that we invited members from the Lone Tree Photo Clubs because we've been familiar with Scott and Cliff's work, but to attend his the open house that he has that Friday evening. So again, it's Friday, May 17th, between 6 and 8 p.m. up at Gallery 6. I'll get out an email on that here pretty soon with more details. We just had some of the details that went out on an email the other day. But what Scott was asking me also is that if we could get to him, say by like May 10th, a listing of who we think might be there, just so he kind of so we can make sure that we have our reservations in and attend, just like I say, because there's limited space. But not only will there be Cliff Lawson's images there on display, but Scott Wilson and others have some. I know Rand had some images in there for a while, but they have a real nice gallery that's worth visiting. So again, that is Friday, May 17th. Other upcoming events in that, later this summer, Darren White, Lone Tree member Darren White, it has his night photography workshops that he's offering at a special discounted price to Lone Tree Photo Club members, and that is out on the Colorado Eastern Plains, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And so this is a private Lone Tree event, and like I say, you know, the prices of it's $99 if you want to do one night, $150 for 2 nights, or $229 for all 3 nights. And again, a real bargain at those rates. So thanks, Darren, for sharing that with us. And there'll be 3 different locations out on the Eastern Plains. Each night, the workshops are scheduled to start at about 6:30 p.m. That allows time to set up, get sunset, blue hour foreground shots, and then they run until about 3 a.m. I believe over that period of time, the Milky Way, the core, sets it around midnight. So we get Milky Way shots up through about midnight, leaving some room after that to do star trails and other fun night photography things. So again, that's September 6th, 7th, and 8th out on the Eastern Plains. And you don't have to, again, select all 3 nights. The option is to attend 1, 2, or 3 of those nights. More of that information is out on our website, has a link that then carries over to Darren's website, and look for and get more details there. See here. Aside from that, just other things that we have coming up. We've got some of our other our competitions. We've got I'll say the competition themes that we have. July 3rd, we have environmental portrait and IP. And on October 2nd, we have light painting and macro. And then aside from those, the other competition nights that we have, those will be similar to this next upcoming one on June 5th, and those are open. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started here. Like I said, we've got, go ahead.
Do you know if the open category switched with environmental portraits, IP?
And
It might.
And we haven't, you know, more to follow on that, meaning as far as the date, switching that one up. So
Yeah.
we'll talk, I'll get together, we'll talk more about, see if we want to do that.
And are we touching base on the
The June program, right?
yeah,
Right.
for the scavenger hunt yet?
Scavenger hunt.
Because that's going to be coming up. That's going to be pretty
That's
fun.
in July, right? Scavenger hunt is in July. I didn't bring the details with me, but there was some information that went out on one of those emails. We'll get. So the scavenger hunt, let's see, remember what that is. This year it's a little bit different. In the past, we've had it where when we say scavenger hunt, we have a list of categories and you go out and photograph those. We usually schedule one event where members can attend if available, but you don't have to attend that to go out. And last year we did it up at Union Station. But you can, you know, take photos of specific topics, specific items. This year, remind me of what the difference. It's going to be a longer.
We're gonna do like a several week long period of time where we're gonna put together like 3 photos that encompass a topic. So in other words, if you had submitted photos to a magazine or whatever, you're doing kind of a series, and it'll be just your personal project. So it'll be kind of fun where, you know, everybody actually has to think a little bit, but think of a topic that you just really love, whether it's hummingbirds or whatever it is, you know, portraits or landscapes or whatever. And we'll have a lot more information coming up, but it's going to be really unique. We're going to have to, you know, just put three photos together that tell a story or one of your loves or whatever. And I guess they'll be kind of judged against each other or whatever. I don't know.
The 3
Maybe
pictures will be judged against each other.
I'm not sure that we've exactly figured out how this is going to work, but it's certainly going to be really fun to have these series that we've created, you know, just.
That's right. Yeah. We'll get more of that information out in this. We'll get another email out in the next few days and that with further details on that. But it was another creative way of just, it's.
Yeah, instead of
Right,
finding items in the wild, we're gonna find our own topic, you know, and then do it, so
To make a story.
make a story. Yeah, it'll be fun.
and as far as the judging, the way that we've done it before is when we do scavenger hunt, we have a judge similar like what we do in some of our competitions, that we judge them as if they were, you know, an open competition type deal. And we'll probably do something similar. We'll have some type of judging or some way of scoring or something like that with you, but like the series of images. And this way we have a little bit more flexibility amongst each of us to pick what it is that we want to try and photograph for that. So more details on that. I know Bruce, who's not here tonight, sent out some of the details of how that was going to run, and it sounds interesting. It'll be a lot of fun. So we'll get that out.
He's in Africa right now, so his series will be lions and tigers and bears.
The bears will be tough to find. Yeah. And I should have brought that. Are there any other questions? Or Darren, do you have anything else to add to what I mentioned as far as your workshop on Eastern Plains? Does that cover most of it?
Yeah, just, there's been some confusion. A lot of people think it's a 3-day workshop, but it's the opportunity to shoot one of any 3 days or 2 days or 3 days. So like you had mentioned, you can pick 1 or 2 or 3 days. It doesn't matter which day it is. So it's not a 3-day workshop. Like if you decide to go out on all 3 nights and you're new to night photography, then you're going to learn a bunch of stuff on night 1, and then you can implement it on night 2 and night 3.
Right.
If you just want to go because of the location guiding, you know, that's one thing as well. It's not a 3-day workshop.
Right.
It's just an opportunity, 3 days, an opportunity to learn and hone your night photography skills.
Yeah, great. And for those of us who have been out on Darren's workshops with the night skies and so forth and that, you will learn a lot. It really is a great opportunity.
Can I just ask where it takes place?
So I said Eastern Plains. You have
Yeah, it'll be, so in September, the Milky Way is more towards the southwest. So I try to pick locations that can take advantage, we can use those as foregrounds that we would be facing southwest. I don't have the exact locations. I have a bunch of locations that are good for that.
Okay.
But I don't like to nail down specific locations, especially this far in advance, just because of weather and things like that. But maybe the skies are going to be clearer in the southern part of the plains rather than the northern part. So I keep my options open.
Okay.
But you would know in advance, you know, because we'll have a meeting place and things like that. But most of the places are between 1.5 hours and 2.5 hours away from here.
great. Thank you.
Hi there, this is Kathy. This is my image. This was in Sandwash Basin. I don't know how many of y'all have ever been there. It's in the northwestern part of Colorado. It's a BLM land where the wild horses are. Unfortunately, they've gathered quite a few since I've been out there, but this is one of the beautiful stallions that I encountered early in the morning.
Yeah, right. There was just the comment that of the wildness with just the sticking through there and just the look to that. Yeah, no, that's, and I have not been there personally, but I know others who have. And in fact, when I mentioned earlier, Scott Wilson, he goes there frequently, and he's an advocate for the preserving of the wild horses out there. But yeah, it's one of those places that's been on my list to go to.
Mine too.
I highly recommend it. It's a great place to go.
There you go. Now we have sound. Sorry about that. Earlier it wasn't coming through as well. That came out much better. And on my screen, it doesn't look quite as bright up there. It looks like, so maybe we thought we adjusted the monitor here and that for the brightness, but up on the screen that we're looking at, some of the brights are a little bit bright, like on the main, like the backside of it or whatever. But on my screen, it looks not quite that bright. I don't know if I can post-processing might look at bringing that down a little bit more than it is, but on my screen, at least it's not blown out though. It's much better. So I can see what I'm saying. It's like, it's not as bright as what that the bright side is over there. So on my screen, it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's not quite as contrasty on the.
Right.
One.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool.
Beautiful colors. Yeah, real nice. And to get that the eye contact, right, where with the wildlife such as this, where they're looking back at you is a real plus. Real nice. Really cool well done.
Did you have a title for this?
Fabio.
Perfect.
Great. No, very nice. Like I said, this is one of those places that's out on my list. I know they say it's pretty kind of rough driving out in there, and especially if it's raining recently. Yeah, but I do want to get out there someday.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Very long time to get into it and see the horses, and it's a long drive from Craig to get out there, but it's well worth it.
Great. Thank you. See, right, and I don't, let's see, I'm gonna try and find the titles, guy, if they just come on. Yeah, I don't have the titles here in front of me, but we'll go with,
A dip at the water hole.
okay. A dip at the water hole,
And this is also at San Wash Basin.
right? Yeah, again, another shot where you've got the, again, the eye contact where they're looking at you. And yeah, no, and again, in their natural environment where they're coming down into the water. And again, on my screen, we may have to make some adjustments to the monitor that we have up here on the audience here in the room is seeing. Because up on the screen that we're looking at, the water looks real bright in some areas and it looks real contrasty. On my screen, it looks much softer and better.
Could make a nice editorial image for that, that area and for like the photo advocacy that, Scott
Scott
does.
does, right.
I have a question about the framing of it. Would it look, I don't know, if the horse is lower in the frame and more background above the horses, it just seems.
With them up, now here, they're up on the upper half. I believe.
Yeah, the horses are in the upper half,
So,
get them down to the bottom third or.
It does make the top third of the image a little top heavy.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's, but you could also kind of crop out some of the water to help balance that out too.
True, yes.
You know, like a pano.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a piano.
A little bit.
yeah,
You
yeah.
lose some of the horse reflection, but. 'cause
That's all I was gonna say.
That's a nice step, the reflection.
Right.
But if I had a little more space on the top. That's all, thanks.
What time of the day was this?
Oh gosh, I'm thinking this was a little bit about 9-ish. So of course you get there, by the time you get there, you lose the light quickly.
Yeah, I think the piano would look good.
Yeah, just cropping off some of the lower part of it.
Yeah.
And that way, to Tony's point where he said, maybe a little bit more room up above would look nice, but if you crop it, then it would bring that balance back.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
This is squaring off. These are two stallions that are having a disagreement.
I like the feel, like the energy it gives you, the feel.
Right, the activities.
Yeah.
And not just with the motion that's showing down in the legs, but up on the mane,
Yeah.
like especially with the black one that's there, and the way its eyes are showing that it's got something going on.
Yeah,
That
you did
expression on
a
his
good
face.
job of trying to pull the eye, you know, on a horse that's black with really dark brown eyes, it's, you know, trying to
It's tough.
get detail in the eye is very difficult, and it's did that well as far as, you know, shadow detail or whatever detail in the horses, and I like that it's a nice contrast between a black horse and a white horse, and you made it black and white, so
It's like a white hat and a black hat.
yeah. The only thing that's unfortunate is the butt of the other horse in the way.
Yeah.
What is the black dot between the two horses?
That's a horse.
Is there another horse back there?
What black dot?
So just.
Oh, you got the tail coming up, but between the two horses, there's a round, is the back end of another horse?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's back in one of
okay.
course, yeah.
Can't tell that from here, so
Oh, no, that's fine,
that's my
yeah.
question.
I wish I could get them to pose better.
They don't cooperate.
Do you think, Kathy, do you think you can, Photoshop that out? I mean, I know you've got some skills.
The new Photoshop stuff, right? The, and would you lose, what it is it's the front right leg of the black horse,
On the left.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Oh, no, I meant the,
camera left.
I meant the button, I meant the back side of the horse in between the two horses.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah,
That one.
okay.
I'll see if I can.
But again, real nice and sharp on the subjects of that. To Dave's point with the,
Between the tail.
you know, with the eye on the darker horse, even a little bit of a catch level in that eye. But yeah, very good.
This one's called Family Portrait.
Yeah, it's a very nice one.
Yeah, real good. And once again, on my computer, it's the light is a little bit softer than what we're seeing up there on the screen. But yeah, really good. I like the composition on that.
You know, what would be really interesting is if you could just use the generative fill and just get rid of the 3 horses on the right, so it was the 4 horses on the left, because they're really outstanding
Altogether,
portraits of
yeah.
horses, you know. I mean, I understand it's a big family, but those 4 on the left are just really outstanding.
You would crop in from the right to
Right.
leave the head of the horse that's almost touching the butt. And then once you crop that out, then you can use the generative fill. It'd be much easier.
Oh.
Okay.
Mhm.
But the horse on the far right is the stallion of the group.
Nice.
On the far right.
On the far right.
Front row, far right?
Yeah.
The one with the big patch on his belly?
Yes. I have worked to try to remove the other 2, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting.
But yeah, very good.
I like the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just enough, the sky has just enough going on. It's good.
Thank you.
This was mine, actually, I intended to put the color one in there, and the black and white one looks a little bit grainy up there and that, so. This is one I took a while back, and it does look, like I said, I like the color one more than the black and white, but since this is the one that came in, we'll go with that. So Yosemite Valley, this was, like a little before sunrise, the sun hadn't quite come up yet, and you know, I was trying to get one of the shots where you get down really close and get some of the rocks and things like that in the foreground, and then work back. And I guess part of what I struggle with is whether that's just too much in the foreground and it's kind of distracting. If I should just crop all of that out and just leave it with kind of the main, what most people get there is the El Capitan, and on the left, and Bridalveil Falls, and everything over on that right side. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that this is when I took actually a handful of years ago or whatever, and added, just recently have gone back to some of the ones that I never processed from back that morning. And this was one of those.
Very nice job.
I like it.
Oh, thanks. And like I said, I go back, I've got some other ones where I didn't have those rocks in the foreground, kind of, a little bit more panoramic thing of a little bit more of the rocks on the side and so forth. And I wish I would have brought the color one in here, because you had a little bit of kind of the orangish glow that was on the water and orangish glow in the sky. This one doesn't quite work as well and as black and white as I thought it might, but we'll go with that.
I like the rocks in the foreground, because it does give a little bit of interest in the front and kind of takes you into the image a little bit.
Right.
I think the highlighted water in the middle,
Yeah,
kind of like where my eye wants to
a
go.
little bit too bright, kind of maybe tone that down some or something, or,
Yeah,
I just want to stop there.
yeah. Gotcha.
yeah, it seems like it's a little, either
Yep.
that or bring up the light on the mountains, so
Yeah,
that it's a little bit more, a little equal,
right,
you know? Because right now I think that spot in the middle is maybe your brighter spot,
yeah, you're right, yeah,
so.
yeah, so kind of tone that down a little bit.
Yeah, either one or the other, either tone that down or bring your mountains up a little bit.
Okay.
This was mine, late night on Baker Road. I spent a couple of hours, this is a small town in the Netherlands, and it had rained, maybe 2 hours before I was out. You can actually see a little puddle there in the very front left side. So all the shops were closed. The big challenge was light. The Heineken sign and the sign behind it over on the right side were blown out because they were so hot. And then the X sign on the left was in almost total darkness. So to try and balance those out a little bit, I don't know how to do it,
Did you take it in Photoshop?
but no, just lightly.
Just like, it was a long exposure with you got the light trails from, is that cars that were coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that,
Shops were closed, but there was still traffic.
right.
Not a lot, but it's cropped a little bit. There is an alleyway that I cropped out on the right. The alleyway is the corner of that Bakery Road building. But it seemed to distract
On the left-hand side?
on the right.
On the right, oh.
What ISO did you shoot this at?
Aaron, I don't remember at the top of my head.
At least 16.
I was on a tripod and I had plenty of time, so I'm guessing it wasn't too high, but it should be in there.
Yeah.
Can't you just
But I mean, to get the rays coming off of those lights, it would have to be.
I don't know,
16.
I'm
It says ISO 100 is what I'm seeing here.
Oh, ISO, I'm sorry, I thought you said,
F22, 30 seconds, I think I'm seeing on it. My eyes are, but I think that's what I'm seeing up there.
Thanks. And then one more of mine. So this one's entitled Too Early to Sail, and it was a foggy morning on a lake up in Ontario. Sun was not up yet, but it came pretty quickly after this shot.
And it's nice, has those pastel colors that would be that time of day, right? Something like that, and that little bit of fog on there, I think really gives it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the colors of the water. It's like a rainbow.
mhm.
And I actually think the colors are better on Michael's screen.
Mhm.
Yeah, the water was really still, you can see all the detail in the hole
Yeah,
in the water.
Check your water. I think I see a few little sensor spots.
couple dust bunnies. I pulled some, but
I've been guilty of that, as I always look for the
Like,
sky and clear up, and then
in
I
the-
forget to look at water.
In the reflection of the water where you've got the mast and there's like that little cross piece.
No, I see.
If you scoot over to the right just a little bit,
okay.
and then a little bit further over to the right and up just a hair. Yeah, there's that one.
Right there, and then there's some more.
Mhm. But other than that, I really like the symmetry of the reflection.
Wow,
Right eye.
good catch.
Mhm.
You know, you may not need as much sky on that.
Mhm.
You know, I was thinking the same thing. I was,
To make it equal. And additionally, your horizon might be lower on the left or on the right-hand side.
Just a touch, I was wondering.
Lauren, oh, yep, I see that.
I wonder if it's an optical illusion because that piece of land is sticking out a little bit further, like it's closer to the camera than the other piece.
Could be.
But, I mean,
I
And
did,
then I run into that sometimes.
yeah,
I did use a grid, but I'll look at it again to be sure. So if we took some of the sky away, just crop it down from the top.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so, and that way too, I mean, right now, you've done a good job of not having like the water line, split the horizon in half, still a little bit more. But I think to the point that was brought up, what that Dave said is taking down a little bit off in the sky. Then you change that balance a little bit more, and then the reflection really becomes sort of the dominant
yeah.
part of the scene, right?
Okay.
Take it down a little bit.
Which is, in this case, is really a positive. But otherwise, I mean, the position of it in terms of, rule of thirds and all those kind of things, and that it does a really good job of all those.
Thanks for the input.
This is mine. I took this last October up in Rocky Mountain National Park. Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful sunrise. I got lucky. The mountains got their first snowfall of the season in 2 days or 2 nights before. This is right off the road up to Bear Lake, so it's just a beautiful scene. And post-processing wise, I probably did a lot of the things I usually do, just building up light. It was the local adjustments, building light, probably spotlighting some of those bushes in the foreground. Did some probably cloud sculpting up there at the top, but just a lot of little minor adjustments.
Yeah, this is, of course, I know exactly where this is, and I've got
Oh,
a handful of images from this spot. I wish mine looked this good. I mean, the colors, I have some also in the fall, but I did not have the colors that you got there, particularly with the clouds and the new snow on how it peaked back there. And this is great.
Yeah,
I like the colors in the water.
Yeah, the pink and the blue, yeah, matches.
Yeah, your color theory is amazing with the yellow complementing the bluish purples and the leading line, there's just no question where it's leading your eye, so.
Did you ever try shifting the image a little bit to the right so you didn't pick up so that the stream didn't come from the dead center of the image, but from slightly to the left, and then pick up a little bit more of flat top peak on the right?
maybe crop it up more, a little bit more.
So you kind of see it in the bottom right, but just the
Oh,
blank gray patch of the land.
Yeah.
And the more I went to the right, the more that came in, and it's not appealing. So I walked all over that area and tried to remove that, and this is the best angle.
I've done it. The composition is,
Yeah.
this is a great composition for that
Yeah.
location, because I've been exactly there and done exactly what you're describing, moved back and forth. And certain angles, you get too much of that stuff over on the right, and the way you got it here is, I think, about right.
Then we would have told you to go to the left.
yeah,
I
right.
think there was another pine tree that was blocking everything up to the left.
Why don't you just put a pine tree in there?
Just chop it down.
There you go, just bring a chainsaw
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah,
You could, and then just have a.
bring a plastic
Yeah,
Christmas tree.
there's I even went down to the creek to see if that was any good. There's like a 6 or 8 foot embankment. And if you go down that low, the trees start blocking the mountains, so.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Could you solve some of your gray up in the front by just cropping up a little ways at the bottom?
I think I did a little bit. I didn't want to get too close to the creek with the crop, but.
Yeah, because if you get too close to the creek with the crop, then you've got those the branches and stuff from the grass in the front, that wouldn't make sense to have bottoms cut off and just, just having the branches there. So I think the bottom crop is probably the best, is at that spot.
Yeah, you really gotta watch that because if your triangles are too small in a corner, your eye gets trapped there. Whereas this one, the area is large enough where it seems like it's big part of the scene and your eye is not necessarily just completely trapped in the corner. So handling it like this is pretty smart.
Yeah, on that
Nice
image.
image.
Yeah, I love the color.
Although some of the rocks in that bottom right, the white, I'm sure you're probably dodging and burning and trying to bring out detail, but maybe, I don't know. Trying to decide whether they're too bright or not.
Yeah. I did burn down that right bottom corner quite a bit, just the.
If you just open it back into Lightroom, you can see the histogram. It's hard to make judgments based on what we're seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
It just really is. So we can see here that everything's in check.
Oh, I'm not saying
You're
it
just
was
saying-
blown out. I'm just saying it was
Removed.
drawing the eye.
Right.
Just on some of the specs. And the color you got reflected in that water. The problem I think of whenever I photograph this one is I've already gone up to say like Bear Lake or Dream Lake or something like that. And then I come back and I get this when the light isn't nearly as good as what you got there.
Jeff, is this yours?
Yeah.
So have you ever, so for a scene like this, just out of curiosity, sometimes I'll process it and then I'll get it looking good for like web viewing and things like that. But then what I'll do right at the very end is I'll go up into my adjustments and I'll go to select color and I'll take my neutral and I'll darken them just a hair. Have you ever tried that?
Right at the very end, no, probably not.
Yeah. Sometimes that can just bring down just enough of the highlights just to keep them out of people's radar. But
Are you talking about like top of the peak?
yeah, right on how it peaked
Yeah.
up there. But you can do it locally or you can do it for the whole scene. Sometimes I like to do it for the whole scene. And it's hard, it's not even noticeable unless you know what the before picture looked like. But it kind of just gives a really nice, I don't know, contrast and adds some, just a tad bit of color when you darken the neutrals just a hair.
Great image. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is mine. This is actually Royal Gorge. Out there, I guess probably in November or so, I'm trying to do some astro, but saw this before. I like the different layers and the way the sun and the reflected sky was catching those. This is focus stack and HDR to get the dynamic range. And I did some editing to help get a bit more separation between the different layers.
Cool. That's why I think I want to go explore a little bit.
Yeah, so, and right on this screen, that like some of the things in the foreground look better on here than they do up there, not quite, up there they look a little bit bright and brighter than when they look up, it looks better on the screen.
I know I toned down the bush sticking in on the middle of the left there. So it wasn't so prominent, but it seems like it's jumping out a lot more there.
And a good, you got that starburst right on the horizon, right there.
Yeah.
The timing of that doesn't last long, so you
No.
move quick on that.
Looks like we had a lot of portrait style or, landscapes this thing so far. I actually see this way better. I like this way. And I love the way that you have the the darks and the lights and the darks and the lights drawing you back into the photo. It gives a lot of dimension the way you've dodged and burned or the layers.
Yeah, I mean, by going, you know, where you have your light on the rocks is light, kind of medium, dark, back and forth like that. That really kind of helps give a 3D feel to the scene. It helps create that.
Thanks. This is also one of mine, on Spruce Mountain, which is well south of here. Obviously a foggy morning, nasty, windy, cold, all the rime forming on the trees. But trying to bring out that cold feeling and mistiness that was there.
I think I know what morning that might have been. I was driving down south one morning and this exact, I wished I had my mechanical with me and wished I would have been at a location like that for it. No, and once again, the light in that sky is softer here on the computer. It really looks, I think it looks great.
Yeah, it does.
And that, it's kind of big when you see that kind of frozen ice on the trees rather than just blanketed with snow. I love that look.
It looks really crisp.
Yeah.
I struggled a bit with trying to decide about the essentially the lower right corner. There's some interesting rocks in there, but it also looks kind of messy and distracting. Any thoughts about that?
Which part?
Like the lower right part
The
of it.
lower right
It's,
is the nearest.
Yeah, I mean, that little dark spot in the very corner kind of, because it is so much darker than the rocks around it, it does kind of, draw attention a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, beside that black spot, I think the corner is just fine. I like how you have kind of a square crop and you've dissected it in half. That's really cool. I'm just curious, did you use like a dehaze, pumping up the haze with the fogginess, or was that just completely natural?
And that's the way it was.
It really gives it a lot of mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, at times it was snowing, sometimes it was foggy, sometimes it was both. And
That looks nice.
Yeah.
there were times when you could see wisps of snow within the fog, and I was trying to pull some of that out too in the sky, but wasn't able to get much there.
I had seen similar scenes down at Roxborough, on the walk back by the golf course. I mean, it's magical when you get a morning like that frost and the fog. It's just beautiful.
So,
Nice work.
yeah. It's a lot of good contrast, the contrast of the warmer against the cooler. You got the really sharp detail in the rock versus the fog. You got all these little contrasts. You got the snow and the not snow. It's really well put together.
Yeah.
It's mystical.
That was, you said Spruce Mountain, so down
Spruce
like
Mountain.
that southern Castle Rock area.
Yeah, a bit south between Castle Rock and a few
Right.
miles north of Monument.
Yeah, no, that's great.
That's a beautiful, lovely scene.
Actually,
Well, the other thing that I did with this, I flipped it horizontally.
Oh, okay,
For
okay.
this one, it looked, to me, looks better going up than having it going down,
Yes.
moving to the
Interesting.
right.
I can see that. Yeah, the left, the right, the way. Yeah, good. Yeah.
It's interesting the way people read an image. People say that they slow down. If you run into something, because you're reading it from the top left to the bottom right. And if you have flipped this, it would have been just downhill. So you're the mood is quicker and faster the other way, and this one slows you down and relaxes you a little bit, so I can understand why it works better this way.
This is mine, it's Kathy. I typically don't do landscape, so I'm open to all comments and suggestions. This was down in Las Cruces, White Sands National Park. And unfortunately, it was in the middle of the day, so just had to work with what I had. And cropped it enough to make it almost a panel.
I like the blue and white. Very nice.
And the mountains were that blue.
That time of day, yeah.
Yeah,
It was on the east side of Las Cruces of the mountains, so it's,
Is there any way you can bring down that white a little?
yeah, we really worked on that.
Show the histo on
I even bumped down on the whites, other than just lowering the highlights.
You know, this is a great image, Kathy, it's wonderful. And, you know, bringing down the whites, I wouldn't do it everywhere. I would definitely take a wide brush with a feather and just burn down
Just that,
selected areas, you know, just try to give some detail or, you know, just try to find some lines of sand or something that, you know, I mean, maybe along the line of those bushes or something like that. I mean,
Did you graduate filter?
Yeah, find where you have some natural shadows in the image and take your brush and go in and burn down those natural shadows just a little bit more. And I think that'll get the depth that Dave's talking about, right?
so it kind of like over on the right, up above the brush or the weeds, kind of follow that little bit of a contrast or shadow.
That one's fun, like look in, I mean, you'll have to kind of like zoom in like around where the grass, where the plants and the shrubs are and the grasses are. You know, there'll be like little, you know, natural little divots and stuff in there.
Oh,
That you
okay,
can go in and kind of darken down some of those little areas to bring in that texture.
okay. So
Is that
build
what
in
you're
some
talking about, Dave?
contrast.
yeah. I wouldn't just bring everything down. you know.
Oh, okay,
Just the idea of dodging and burning, but you certainly don't need to dodge anything. It's really white.
Yeah,
I mean, the
Yeah.
whole purpose of white sands is to show the white sands, right? But, you know,
But you're right.
burn down certain selected areas as Elaine suggested, you know.
This could also make a really nice black and white.
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was kind of moving towards.
oh, I don't think we tried that, yeah.
Yeah, this thing is black.
Yeah, if you go to develop. You should hit black and white.
Yeah, what it is I've got the Zoom things that are blocking me from getting to that part.
Just hit D.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay, moving.
Try the black and white. Okay, yeah, we'll move on.
And again, this is, the same area. And it was interesting, we were just talking about the other photo and flipping it. And I actually thought about flipping this. But it seemed better to start on the lower and then go up. It might have been just too weird to flip it, but it was interesting. We were just talking about the other photo and flipping it. And what's interesting here, the title here is Glacier or Sand Dunes. And there's kind of like a avalanche of sand. Just
Right
in the middle. Yeah, right in the middle between the shadow and the rest. A little sand slide. And then I didn't know if it was too bright up on the top and up on the right corner. But that's the way the sun was reflecting off the sand. So this one I did try to build up the contrast, in the sand.
I like the lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the texture and the.
Yeah.
To Darren's point, this might be more interesting in black and white too. There's something about it, the crop, I don't know, it's not close enough in, it's not far enough away, maybe, I don't know. Maybe something even closer in, or I don't know. What do you think, Darren?
I think that the bottom right-hand corner, where all those lines are going diagonal, I think a square crop in there would be a nice image.
Yeah.
Isolate that area.
Right.
I think there's a lot going on. I think the time of day could have. The time of day has a lot to do with the overall outcome of your images. If you shoot midday, you're gonna get harsh shadows, you're gonna get direct light. And if that's what you want, that's fine. But it's harder to correct.
Yeah, and it was the
So-
middle of the day.
So if you shoot in the evening or in the morning
Yeah,
and you get less direct light, that's much easier to play with. But I would do like a square crop from the bottom right corner and just have like those diagonal lines. I like that. There's some good elements, but they don't really tie together. Like I feel like I'm looking at a piece of a bigger picture. Like this is like one grid of a 9-grid image. That's what I feel like I'm looking at.
well, actually you are. I mean, actually.
Well, I want to see the whole thing, Kathy.
But it wasn't that good, you know, you saw the whole thing, you saw the parking lot and, it was like too much, you know, so.
Yeah, I like Darren's idea of focusing on that, on the lower right section where you can crop that into an interesting abstract, nature abstract.
Yeah.
Right.
With the lines and stuff.
Yeah, generally this time of day, if I'm out shooting, I'm looking to completely fill the frame and bring the subject much closer and isolate it. The grander scenes don't generally do as well.
Well, I actually took some other, shots where you have the little tumbleweed or the little piece of grass, against the the ripples on the sand. I think that's what you're talking about, is just go in close and, yeah,
Or use a longer lens to get yourself close if you can't physically get that close. Yeah, there's a lot of options. It's hard to say after the fact, but I think an image like this has potential. It's just bringing that out.
kind of knowing what to do with it.
Right. Pre-visualization is a big key in photography from my work anyway. So I like to think about where I'm going. I like to pre-visualize something I would like to come home with. And then I try to make that happen. And if I have a good idea going into it, then I generally can bring home something really close to what I'm looking for.
And then this is the last one. I call this the Arizona Highway photo, or,
I just don't think you need as much sky.
Yeah, crop it in, fill the frame with that plant in the foreground.
I can tell if like the horizon line is a little bit sloped left to right.
oh, uh-huh.
Maybe just straighten that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did crop the top down.
But move a little quicker, I know, so.
Kathy, I also see your images could benefit from some really nice sky replacements.
Some what?
Sky replacements. You got really nice, good, clean skies.
And you want clouds?
Don't be afraid to add a little texture up in there.
Some clouds? You want
Yeah.
some clouds?
Oh, I love clouds.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't be an Arizona Highway magazine photo.
Well, did you take it in Arizona?
No, it was in
Well, then it
Mexico.
can't be anywhere. Their restrictions are so strict to submit images to them. Yeah. But no, just go ahead, let's go. We got a lot of images to get through.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah, we'll go.
This is another of mine, out around Hartsel, a bit before sunrise. Like the creek there and the mist that was rising from it, as well as, the early light in the sky and, the way it picked up the mist.
Well, I think the sky makes the photo.
Yeah.
I love the sky.
Yeah, the colors. They get a little bit softer here on the screen, it's up there, but yeah, very good.
I had this, I would either decide whether I wanted to highlight the sky or highlight the ground, but it's seemingly 50-50 and I don't know what to look at.
Yeah, definitely. I feel I would crop the sky down. a
Yeah,
little
take the
bit.
dark clouds out.
Okay,
I'd probably crop the sky in half from the tallest tree on the right,
okay. yeah.
something in that area. Because you want to force the eye to focus on the land and the mountain at the background. But my eye just keeps going up.
But I do like the warm and the cool, that's really neat. It's great.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to make kind of a barrier, a border. But I guess even the colored sky is enough of a border given the brighter sky at the right.
And if you crop that sky down a little bit, then you lose some of there's that bright corner on the upper left that
Yeah.
kind of pulls the eye on that. So then, anything below that part of it then kind of pulls the eyes down from that point down below.
Yeah, I was trying to wrestle with that too. Good, thanks.
It's Tony here, that's me. Cayman Sunset. I left a solo sailboat out there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not very complicated. I mean, the sky was that color. It's just making sure soften the sun a little bit.
And interesting how some of that sky color, I mean, the rays look beautiful too, to come out of the clouds, right? And then you get just enough to where then on that foreground, you're getting some of that.
What I cropped off the bottom, cropped off the bottom was when the waves hit the beach,
Okay,
the wet sand still reflected
Yeah.
the sun.
yeah,
I mean,
yes.
Just a beautiful scene.
Wow.
Where was this at?
Cayman, 7 Mile Beach.
Did you add any contrast to the water?
No. No.
Okay.
I don't play with contrast much at all. Just darks and whites and highlights.
Is this one exposure?
Yeah. Single frame.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I like that, like you to your point, that one boat out there that you know, as part of that subject that the guy goes to and its location and the scene is really nice.
Thanks.
So my last one, this is at the sand dunes last month. Real windy, and you can trying to pick up some of the blowing sand off the top of the dunes, and of course the snow on the dunes and sand covering some of that snow too. Had trouble trying to find good compositions. Appreciate thoughts you have.
So one thing I'm noticing from a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this myself, is that a lot of the images that we're looking at, people like to stand way back and like try to get the whole thing in, but like you see where that white snow is, like those lines right there on that hill where it's coming down from the left to the right, like that could be your foreground. If you a scene like this, I would focus on that, like getting down low with a wide angle lens and using those lines in my foreground to guide the viewer up towards the sky and stuff. That's the kind of stuff I look for when I'm out shooting. I like those leading lines to fill the frame in the foreground where they're there, but then we have all this brown sand over on the lower right corner area. There's not like really any direct lines that are helping to lead the viewer except for in the middle of the frame there. It's still a nice image, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
that's
sure,
the
sure.
kind of stuff I look for.
Yeah. And then, so cropping up maybe about 20%. And then
Yeah, if this is the image, yeah, I would crop up to just below the white there.
Yeah.
But if you were to go back and see something similar to this, try to get closer down with a wider angle lens and really accentuate those lines.
Yeah.
The sand dunes are so good for leading lines.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's really, and once again, like up on that screen, the brighter areas in there are not quite as bright here on here, it looks a little bit softer
I
here.
almost thought this was like the highlands of Iceland, it kind of looked like.
Right. But yeah, good job.
This is mine, so the river bottom up on the North Platte River. So,
Cool.
Puzzle time.
Oh,
You know,
Water's so clear.
you know, what's interesting is that the image on the monitor versus the laptops, the one on the monitor has a lot more color in it. And I think I like the extra greens and stuff that it's bringing up. So I don't know if there's a way that you can do that in Lightroom as well. I found when I've shot some of these in the past, like a circular polarizer works really well to kind of help bring out different colors and stuff in the rocks when shooting down in the water like this.
okay.
Yeah.
So when you shot this is just a quick question. Did you focus on the light reflecting off the water or did you focus down on the rocks in the water?
More down on the rocks. The water was maybe 3 inches or so there.
Right, but depending on your f-stop, it can have a very adverse effect depending on which one you focus at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. When you look at these large and you can see, okay, well, the water is clearly in focus, but the rocks are slightly out of focus or vice versa. But these are such fun scenes to shoot. And you did a great job with it.
Mine. I love the wheel on the old mill. My problem is clearing out that telephone pole with the transformer. I tried generative display or replacement. I tried just deleting it and having it fill. And I can't get the branches. Anything on the branches to line up if I take out that pole.
You try a chainsaw?
I don't mean pick grass if I want it, if I don't want it in the scene. No, I would. And I could take out the transformer. But yeah, that whole pole just distracts from the feel of the image. The other question is it too grainy?
Hard to see the grain from here.
Yeah, I don't think it looks too grainy. I mean, not on what I'm
Did
seeing.
you use color effects or silver effects?
Silver effects, yeah.
So yeah, I can tell by the frame of it, but
Giveaway.
I may be guilty. But like in silver effects, there's a grain slider.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So you can always push it all the way to 500 just to get rid of the grain, but I don't see any grain.
I was adding grain to this, trying to find the right balance because of the age of the building.
Yeah, I don't have, yeah. I think it's, it's fine because of what you're looking for with it. It's like you want that age in there. And yes, I'm, the telephone plays.
It'd be a great old time scene, except. Okay, thanks. This is me also. This was one of those, I was driving down a main road and caught it out of the corner of my eye, flipped around and went back, spent about an hour shooting this thing from different angles. Colors, the color ones I like because of the rust in the trestle, but the black and white just fit better, I thought, with the age of the trestle. I played with the clouds, trying to put a little more drama into it, but not overdo it. And then one of the difficult things was some out of the press, and I got the white line across the top of the trestle. And then I think I got rid of it, but there still may be some of it along the right side on the arms or the supports.
Yeah, maybe I just don't have glasses on. I don't see a lot of, you mean like halos or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not seeing,
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
Do you have a picture?
Oh, you know what? I think I see one, Tony, on the, oh, how to describe it? So you have the wide part coming down off the right side. There's that first,
Yeah.
one coming this way, and then there's the gap of the white. And then you see the next,
I see
that
it.
next
I
vessel.
see where
That
you're
one I
going.
think has a little bit on.
To the right of the cross pieces.
Yeah, like on the very edge, right edge of the
Okay.
screen.
On the underside
Mhm,
of
on
the,
the underside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And no, I don't have one from this side, but more in the middle of the road.
I just think it'd be cool
Yeah.
if you got like, and then straight down like this.
Yeah,
It's still cool. I mean, this is, I love it, especially with the clouds.
I played with the road a lot because it was bright, because this was middle of the day.
Yeah,
To bring that down, but still maintain the texture.
I like all the different lines. So you have one line
Yeah.
going this way and another coming this way, and then all the lines with trestle, but yeah.
that's what, that's.
To me, that creates a lot of interest.
And all the rough look of it.
Mhm.
Is that your skid marks there?
Mm.
You saw the bridge get stopped right there?
No, but it reminded me of an old drinking road in college. You go down under the trestle, around the corner, right there.
There's always something about a trestle, right?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
This might be one where you might experiment with flipping it on one side and the other.
Hmm,
And
I
game
don't
one.
know. Wouldn't that lead him out of the image?
Because the road takes me through to, and now to the left.
We're still gonna do that. It's just that the road is gonna be on the left, right hand side.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the angle of the trestle. But.
I can play with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's
not gonna bother
digital.
me.
That's right, it's digital.
So, you know, generally we read from left to right. So if you did flip it, then you would have the trestle going, you know, this way.
Right.
So it would guide your eye down while the road leads you in. Either, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen. of the
Yeah.
other.
Maybe just curious to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll move them through here.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Someone play.
Thank you. So this is what I just took a couple of weeks ago. I was going down to Colorado Springs for something and pulled off, is it, Upper Lake Gulch Road, I think it's called, the one that's, kind of south of, the south part of Castle Rock. And you follow that road down, it's like, it becomes a little bit of a kind of a gravelly dirt road or whatever now, but you get the scene that has, back in the background, Pikes Peak. And I did this one in infrared, so that gives it a little bit of a different look to the trees and some of that on there. I guess, and like I said, I'm gonna try and move these through a little bit more quickly now, but question is, like, should I drop it down? Like the very top of it is pretty dark, right? And what that is blue sky becomes real dark whenever you do infrared. I'm just wondering if in this scene that becomes kind of overpowering, if I should take it down and kind of cut it right at the edge of like where those clouds would be.
I think so, but only because there's not much detail in those clouds up there. So it
Right.
just looks like a big black.
Yeah, right,
It's just a
that
block,
black
there's no
streak
detail.
goes across like that. Whereas there's a lot of puffiness in clouds that are
Yeah.
just right over on the mountains and that. And then I guess do I have too much in the foreground to the trees, or would you crop more of that up and on too? But
I like the foreground with the trees and stuff. I mean, because you do have a lot of layering between, you know, the
Right.
lights and your darks.
That's what.
That kind of help bring you through the
And see
image.
the thing is.
Right.
That part right in the middle, the line is kind of flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same tone as the thing behind it, so if you burned it down just a half
of that area.
tone, it might give you more depth. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, good point. Right. Okay, thank you.
This one's mine.
Yeah.
24-inch trout. It's lurking underneath there.
Wow.
I find it real difficult to take pictures of fish. It's,
Yeah.
I either need to be fishing
Or
or.
Buster North Platte with the.
No, this was up on a pond by the Roaring Fork just 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now you've got Michael's attention,
Yeah.
it's fish.
You,
Pond
you,
by the Roaring Fork.
you need a polarizing filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Polarizing filter in the fishing pole.
Pardon?
Polarizing filter in the fishing pole.
Yeah.
Private pond or,
Yeah, it was on a ranch.
There you
And, actually, there was a pellet feeding station right next to it, so there was some
Mhm.
trout in there.
okay.
Even better, just a treble hook.
Yeah.
This is mine. Took a trip down to the Great Sand Dunes a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a lot of low light, kind of struck out there, but I did get some brief moments of this light. This was way across the other side of the dune, so long lens. I darkened down using a gradient filter. I'm sure it was kind of funky there, but the darkened, I guess it was the valley and the mountains behind. I just thought it was distracting, so I darkened it down quite a bit on top. Other than that, just dodging and burning, to bring out the contours of the dunes.
Very striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good shadow detail. Yeah, it's great.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's nice.
Are there mountains behind there, back there?
Yeah, way off in the distance. They were faint, but it was just so distracting, and I just trying to eliminate them.
Like some Bob Ross.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what time of day
Yeah,
was this then?
This was sunrise, so first light.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking it was moonlight.
Yeah, I was thinking.
No, this is just converted to black and white.
Mm. Very
You
nice.
said it's white sands?
No, Great Sand Dunes.
Great sand.
Just tell people it's a moonrise. Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna know the difference.
Isn't that the title?
But yeah, but yeah, nice contrast in there, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Love it.
Love it.
This is mine. This was up on the Roaring Fork. We're on a ranch and there's all kinds of junk, a bunch of vines overgrown this tiller. And converted it to black and white and kind of up the contrast and all of it. So,
Puzzle time.
I like it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
Mhm.
yeah, there's a cab of an old pickup truck that you'd walk right by it and didn't even know it was there. So
They probably drop it down just so that you get that distraction. From the
The
top.
part, the
Yeah,
kind of upright
and now,
part.
so now I'm just looking at it.
what else on the
Right,
top?
just
Yeah.
where you see the level.
Yeah, that's the Roaring Fork River up top.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to crop it, I would take it into to a degree where it's all about that, that tiller, the farm implement.
Yeah.
That's in the center.
I have another photo where I did that, where it's more of the
Yeah.
disc. So
Mhm.
The discs, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like I could see my dad. My dad has these all over the place, but I just couldn't think of the name of it.
Yeah, there you get the texture on the, like, again, the lines, and
Mm.
especially the formation, shapes.
Cool.
How rusty were those?
very rusty. They were
Bright rust?
orange,
Dark
yes,
rust?
orangish brown. When I hit the orange slider, that's what gave me all the white speckles on the disc.
I was just wondering how it would look with just the metal colorized. To a
Pardon?
degree. Interesting. God, I love playing with an image like that. Damn.
So this is one I took, just about a week ago or so, we can have to, down in Castle Rock, there's a blue heron rookery down there. And this morning, in fact, I ran into Bruce and his wife Carolyn down there that morning. Was walking up, and just as they were pulling up in their car. But what I did was I got up in that morning and remembering back to, I think Chuck Rasco had has had images before that we shot in high key and described what, you know, the sky that allows you to do that. So that morning I got up and it was real kind of like misty. You know, it was the gray cloud, like the kind of light that normally you don't want to go shoot in. I thought, I wonder if I can go see if I can get some high key images out there that morning. So what I did is I shot it where I, you know, pushed the you know, the exposure all the way up just before it gets to where it's blowing out with the sky. And then just kind of playing with it in Photoshop. It almost came out like this without having to do very much in, say, Lightroom with Photoshop. Just had to, you know, lighten some of the shadows. But the sky came out this way just because I intentionally shot it in what we call like high key.
The hair looks like my hair in the morning.
You know,
It's like an autumn painting.
Nice haircut.
I love it. I actually love this.
Beautiful birds.
So yeah, and like I say,
The was spread.
yeah, and right now they're down there nesting, and I would get, this was, like I said, it was probably 8-9 days ago. The eggs should by now or within the next week or two be hatching, and my understanding is they'll be there for another month or two or something like that. So,
cool.
Do they have the area blocked off?
they don't,
Really?
no, and I did use like my 150 to 600 millimeter lens, and this is cropped in a bit, but you can, you know, park. There's some residential places about it just south of there's a fire station with Plum Creek. Plum Creek Parkway, and then it's a little bit south of that. It's not when you say closed off. Yeah, to go down to the pond, to go down to the water, that part is closed off. But there's a pathway that goes along there that, as long as you have a fairly long enough lens, and they, you know, fly back and forth too, and I get some of them flight. But you know, to get this one, I did have, you know, I was fully out at like 600 millimeters, and then I still cropped it a little bit from that. So, and then this was just a few days ago in California. Just drove back last night, but this was a hummingbird that was just at a place that we were staying at down there. And it was a little bit before sunrise, so I had to, there wasn't very much light coming through, so I had to push in order to get, I think it was like 1/1000th of a second. So it's not super sharp on those wings, but sharp enough what I was trying to get. But I had to push the ISO up to about 2500, and I think I was at that was like with at 3.2 or something like that. So so I did have to push the ISO up, but luckily that the noise cleans up pretty well. But this was good.
Eye is nice and sharp.
Yeah. The depth of field is excellent.
Oh,
Because it really helps the little birds stand out against the background as well as the main flower.
Yeah. Luckily, these flowers were pretty distant from the other stuff that was back behind it. So, and luckily they chose to come on this flower versus the ones that were further away.
Yeah.
Didn't always happen.
This is mine again, Rocky Mountain National Park again, last October. Yeah, this is can't remember, 5 or 6 shot pano. It was still pretty early. Obviously, you see some of the glow on the mountains there, but it was a good, healthy breeze that morning. So I knew I wasn't going to get the trees in the foreground in focus. They were going to be blowing around, so I had to do another set of pano at a higher ISO and a faster shutter speed, and then just mask in or blend in the foreground. But just the classic shot from the trail there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said it was breezy up in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah,
That's
you can
pretty
believe it.
unusual, right?
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah, imagine that.
That's the I like that. The colors are fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice colors. Nice sky.
And again, the shape of it, you know, where you have the curve in there, really nice.
You could even take the sky and do a mask on the sky and darken it down and saturated more and bluer and oranger. I mean, you
Well, it
wouldn't
looks
want to really.
good on screen.
And it's the screen, it looks a little bit darker than up there when you're talking about the sky. And it has that, and a little bit more, the tones in the yellows look a little bit better
Yep.
here on the screen.
But the TV up there to me, has a little bit more color in the sky than what's on
Yeah.
the laptop. It has a
Yeah.
little more purple in it, which is pretty.
Yeah, you're right.
But then I'm looking at a different laptop too, so.
My laptop's calibrated.
This is mine. Just walking along a trail a couple years ago and I saw the kingfisher. He was pretty active and he just sat there and took pose for me. Now I did have to work in the background a little bit to get some of that distraction.
Well, and
good job.
the background, at least the depth of field is far enough back where it's not, where there's not a lot of detail, so it kind of helps. I think it works pretty good like with this.
Is that light on the tail or a halo?
It's light on the tail.
Okay.
And once again, the highlights are not quite as bright here on this screen as compared to what you see up there.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Love the detail.
And the story of the beak wide open like that. Good timing. Yeah, right. Yeah. More than that.
Yeah, beautiful little kingfisher.
Yeah.
Is it?
This one's mine too. I like it only because they're just so close and you get the expression on the back eagle. But I just wish it was in focus a little bit more. If I cropped it in more, it just didn't look, it bothered me that, the eagle in the back was not as sharp as the eagle flying by.
Do you use Topaz Studio at all?
To sharpen,
Yeah.
yeah,
Topaz like photo AI.
yeah.
It looks right. And to your point, they're close, but yet you still have that little bit of separation,
Yeah.
which is great, that they're not overlapping.
Different depth on it.
Yeah.
That's all. But if they're different depth, and you probably have to shoot it at a shallow depth of field just to keep the shutter speed up and all those kind of things. But it doesn't look. I mean, and the fact that the main, what I would consider the main subject is sharp. I think that it's okay to let that second one fall off a little.
Love the detail.
Yeah,
Yeah, the action, right?
lots of action.
This one's mine too, just so you guys know, I don't always shoot birds. So this is a branding that took place, I just wanted to get the action. They just, they grab the cab, and they just, there's like a lot of things going on at once.
Not only did you capture the image, I could smell it.
Yeah, you see the guy with the syringes and they're branding and then they're tagging and, so they're just doing a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those real good storytelling ones in that too, where like the four that are back there working, but even the person that's in the foreground belongs and to me in this scene also, in that just his face, the expression, what's going on. You can tell it's serious business with them. And I like that in the black and white.
Yeah.
It works really well with that.
Yeah, Photoshop the guy on the right out. He's not doing anything.
I know.
He's just hanging out.
Look at him, he's on the road.
Yeah, he's holding the rope. He's balanced.
Can't get that book going.
This one's mine too. This was at a very small rodeo in Nebraska last year.
Nice action shot.
Yeah, his facial expression, the bull's expression, and being able to see eyes from both of them like that. And all of the activity that's going on down below really is nice. Was it, is that like mud or was that just dust? Is that
Just
dust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, which just shows how much activity is going on when you have that much.
So what'd you do to darken him up and have a background light like that?
Well, I mean, the time of day, it was, it was really just the time of day.
yeah, because it looks like the sun's probably to your back, shining directly
Yeah.
on the guy, on the building in the background and stuff, so.
And there's just enough, where there's details on the back there, the depth of field where they're out of focus, brings your eye right to where it's supposed to be. Then.
Is there any more to the right?
Is there
The only reason I was asking is it is trying to determine whether I like
Right.
bullseye subject, you know?
Yeah,
Bullseye.
you kind of lose the dust kicking up. Because it's all coming towards the left. I just kind of lost the dust and all, and everything kicking up to the right, so, and I just wanted to keep the action in.
Great action shot.
Nice action.
My last one, Crystal Cave down in Kings. Again, I thought the stalactites reflected in the water was kind of a cool thing. I don't know what depth he was trying to focus that in the camera. It looks good. Inland shot.
Is it
Right.
shadows on the water or are those actual? Or is it?
That's a reflection.
It's a good reflection of the steel.
Reflection, okay,
Reflections of what's right?
Yeah,
okay, so it's not actually in the water.
no, it's the
reflections that are.
water's so still in the cave,
Stalagmites are on the bottom.
right, tight to the ceiling.
Yeah, and the colors are nice. I like that aqua, the color that's in. Would you take out that section that's on the left? Is that, like the lower left corner?
I thought it kind of helped frame it. But,
Right.
if you're looking at, on the far left side, you got coming down.
Coming down, so it
Coming up from the bottom.
right, it shows you something.
It's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
What's that been on the right hand side? It looks like a hawk. No, right there. What's
Looks
that?
like a dildo.
Whoa. That wasn't the direction I was going, Tony.
You can edit that out.
What is that?
It's part of the scene, it was there.
Rock formation.
It's not man-made.
A stalagmite.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
it's like-
It's not man-made.
My eyes are bad. I can't see. I just.